Namaskar everyone and welcome to day 15 of our Dhanurmasa Satsang. Lakshminatha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyutapadambuja Yugma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmadguror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेत सादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. So with prayers at the lotus feet of Acharyas and Lord Rama, we'll continue our satsang from where we had left off yesterday. So in yesterday's satsang we saw how Rama agrees that he will follow the words of his father. He will keep the promise made by his father. And then he convinces Kausalya and she agrees that, okay, you go to the forest, and she blesses him. Next, now it is the turn of Rama to break the news to his wife Sita. So he goes to meet Sita and she's surprised. She says, you went with all that Chatra Chamara and all that. What is this? You've come alone like this without any of those things. Only you and Lakshmana have come. What has happened? And when he goes to meet Sita, Lord Rama's face is not as unmoving as it was when he was with his father and mother. Now there is a lot of sadness in his face when he comes there. And Valmiki describes that. And Sita, seeing that, that sad look on Rama's face, she asks him, what happened? When you went, you were looking so bright. And now you are looking so sad. What happened? What is the reason? Now here it is important for us to understand that perhaps, we think that Rama is now showing his sadness to his wife. He didn't show the sadness to his mother and father. This idea of showing or not showing sadness, it's more important to go a little deeper and see what is the kind of emotion that is there. Now, when Rama was talking to his father and to his mother, his whole idea, he was focused upon how he is going to follow his father's promise. He is going to keep to that resolve that he has made. That his father has given the 2 boons to Kaikeyi, and he must keep up with that. So in that, there is no sadness for him. But now, when he comes to meet Sita, what is the sadness probably in his face? Because he is going to tell her that you stay back here in Ayodhya and I will go to Vanvas. So the thought of separating from her is probably what is responsible for the feeling of sadness. Not that he feels he is feeling bad about what decision he has taken. He's as firm as ever about that decision. The thought that he'll have to separate from his beloved Sita, that is what is responsible for the sadness in his face. Now, so then Rama explains now to Sita that all this has happened. Like this, Kaikeyi Mata had asked for the boons. Dasharath Raja, my father, has promised her. And so it has been decided, as per that, I am going to go to Vanvas. And then he starts telling Sita that what all she has to do. He says, I will go to Vanvas. You will be here. So you make sure that you take care of my father. You care for my father as if he is your own father. You care for my mother as if she is your own mother. You take care of Sumitra. You take care of Kaikeyi. You take care of everybody. And once Bharata comes back, he is going to be made the Raja. So you should always treat Bharata like your brother. And Shatrughna is very young. You treat Shatrughna as your son. And whatever time you have other than doing seva to all these people, you use that to perform many religious activities. You do vratas, you do your karmas, you give time for prayer and meditation, and then you do dana. And all this he is advising her. Okay. Now, one important thing to be noted here is that when he's telling her how she should deal and treat with everybody, Please note that Rama is not mentioning Lakshmana here. This will come back later in tomorrow's session. We will see that why that Lakshmana was not mentioned there, right? So anyway, he tells her all these instructions that how she should pass her time. And he says, it is just 14 years. I will go and I will come back soon. So till then you stay here and take care of everybody. Then he also tells Rama is so, in terms of psychological, emotional matters also, he is so well versed. So in fact, he tells her that when I'm not there in front of Bharata, don't praise me. What is the reason for saying this? Because commonly it is human nature that people don't like to hear the praises of somebody. Um, and if especially they have, given us something, then we don't like to hear those people being praised. So Rama is saying that maybe the Bharata will feel bad. Don't sing my praises in front of Bharata. Like that he's telling. Now, hearing all this, when Rama is telling all this, Sita has been silently watching and listening. She is feeling very sad that Rama is even considering the thought of going without taking her. Again, she is not now hurt and feeling bad about the fact that they have to go to Vanavas. She is hurt by the fact that Rama thinks he is going to go alone and she is going to stay here in the with all the comforts of the palace while her husband is struggling and dealing with all difficult things in the forest. That is what is hurting her. The thought of leaving Rama, the thought that Rama will not take her is what hurts her. She tells him, Arya putra pita mata bhrata putra tata snusha swani punyani bhunjanaha swam swam bhagyam upasate. She says, O Arya, O noble prince, whether it is the father, the mother, the brother, the son, even the daughter-in-law, all of them, they get whatever good fortune if they have done pious deeds. If they have done punya, they get to enjoy happiness in this world. So whatever people are getting, it is according to their deeds only, what they have done. Then further she says, Bhartur bhagyam tu bharya eka prapnoti purusharshava atachaiva aham adishta vane vastavyam iti api. O Rama, O the best among men, you remember in that previous shloka when she told, she did not put the wife in that list. She said for all the other people, for mother, father, brother, daughter-in-law, son, everybody, for everybody, whatever comes as per their karma, they have to just take, they get everything by their karma. Now she's telling, for the wife, however, we get even the fortune of our husbands. Whatever the husband does, the punya of that comes to the wife also. So if you are going to go to the forest and that is what is your role, then I am also going, that is my destiny also, because I'm married to you. So as a wife, whatever is your destiny, whatever is the destiny of my husband, that becomes my destiny. And she, like this, she insists that I will come along with you. Now Rama is very worried. He says, no, no, how can you come? And it's going to be very difficult there and all. She says, no problem. And she's in fact worried that it is going to be difficult for Rama. So you see this wonderful kind of competition. This is what an ideal dampatya should be. That is what the acharyas tell us. That the wife is worried for the welfare of the husband and husband is worried for the welfare of the wife. Now, neither of them is selfishly thinking only of themselves. They are thinking of what is good for the other person. They want to do what they feel will be comfortable for the spouse. So Sita in fact tells Rama, she says, Yadi tvam prastitah durgam vanam adya eva raghava agratah te gamishyami mridnanti kushakantakan. She says, if you are going to the forest, which is so difficult to travel and it's such difficulty in the forest, then agratah te gamishyami. I will walk in front of you and whatever thorns and grass and other things are there which are going to cause trouble to you, I will walk on them first. I will walk in front of you so that I will trample down all those things so that those thorns, when I trample upon them, they will be destroyed and they will not cause pain to you. This is the bhava of Sita. Now, although she says all these things, Rama listens, but he is not willing to take her. He tells her the forest is very dangerous. There are so many animals there. There are wild animals which come. Then there will not be proper food to eat. We have to eat only these fruits and berries and roots and all leaves and all such things. Then where we will sleep, we have to sleep on the hard ground. There is not going to be any bed and all that. Like this, he tries to tell her so many things. For all those, she has an answer. She says, it's okay. When you are there, what am I worried about? You will take care of me. I know that if there are animals, you are there. When you are so powerful and you are so strong, then why should I have to worry about the animals? And it's okay. I am used to, it is not that I want only these comforts. I can live whatever way. I don't need only a soft bed to sleep on. I can sleep on the ground also. I can also eat roots and fruits and flowers. That's okay. I am ready to take all those things. Like that, she tells. Then, in fact, she tells Rama, you are thinking that this Vanavasa concept is new because now your father has told. But in reality, when I was in Mithila, some astrologers had come, and when my father showed them my horoscope and they saw it, they said everything is fine, but there is some vanavasa, there is some stay in the forest for some time for this girl. They told like that. So ever since that day, I have mentally been preparing myself that at some point of time I will have to go. So it's as if figuratively I tied up my potli and kept that day itself. I know that at some point I have to go, so I'm perfectly okay with going to the forest. Then Rama is still not willing. He says, what will your father say? What will your people think? It's not correct of us to send you like that. The Vanavasa has been told for me. Just because you are my wife, you don't have to follow that. It is not told for you. My father didn't say that you have to go to the forest, that I am going. So you don't have to come. And like that, he tries to tell her. So then she reminds him. She says, you remember during our wedding ritual, what my father said? He told, Janakaraja told, Sahadharma Charitava. He told that whatever you do as your dharma, she is going to walk by your side as an equal with you. And she will walk along with you on the path of dharma at all points of time. Didn't my father say that? She says. So still Rama says, okay, that is fine, but this is not correct. You should not come. And then she's so helpless and she's so angry that Rama is not listening to her. Finally, in that helplessness, she says, in anger. Now, of course, we must understand that this is playful anger which the Lord and Devi enact to teach us something. So, in that mood of anger, Sita Devi says to Rama, she says, Kim tva amanyata vaideha pita me mithiladhipa Ramajamataram prapya striyam purusha vigraham. She says, you are striyam purusha vigraham in the form of a man, but actually you are a woman. Can you imagine such a shameful thing? She's hitting such a strong barb at him. People have been talking how Rama is vigraha of dharma. Ramo vigraha and dharma, they told. Now here she is telling striyam purusha vigraham. What is this? She says, if my father hears you talking about all these things, okay, that you are telling me don't come to the forest, it is dangerous, it is a bad place, and like that, what will my father think? He will think that, oh yo, I have been cheated. As a son-in-law, I got a woman. Only the form is that of a man, but you are actually a woman. That is what my father will think, she says. And like that, she tries to convince Rama in this mode of anger also. Then finally she says, okay, Rama, tell me, what is your idea of heaven and hell? Then Rama says, what is this? I have studied all this from Vasishtha Rishi. What is there in this? Heaven means it's the place, it is Swarga. It is the place where we go to when we have lot of punya accumulated in our life. When we do good deeds and we have lot of punya, then we go to Swarga. And if we do bad deeds and we have accumulated papa, then to experience the punishment for that papa, we go to Naraka, that is hell. Like that, she tells. Then Sita laughs. She says, Rama, you are telling very elaborate answers, but actually you are only going on simply blabbering something. What you are telling is not actually correct. You know, when I asked you this question about what is heaven and what is hell, the first thing you should have asked me is according to whom? Because based on the person, what is heaven and what is hell will be different. For each person, what they think as heaven and what they think as hell is totally different, and it depends on their individual experiences and their individual life situation. So now you want to know what is heaven and hell. According to me, you should have asked me what is according to you heaven and hell before telling me the answer. Now you listen. I will tell you according to me what is heaven and what is hell. So she says, Yatvaya sahasa swargo nirayo yatvaya vina iti janan param pritim gacharama mayasaha. She says, your companionship is swarga for me. If I am with you, that is heaven for me. If I'm without you, that itself is hell for me. So you are trying to tell me that going to the forest, it will be difficult and all that, and according to you that will be hell. But in reality, if I stay in the forest but I'm staying with you, then that forest itself will be a heaven for me. If I'm staying in the most comfortable place with all the luxuries possible in this Ayodhya, but in your absence, then this Ayodhya will become a hell for me. Oh Rama, you know, realize this. This is my concept of heaven and hell. And with this understanding how much I have love for you, then Gacha Rama Maya Saha, she says, come and let us both have the supreme joy in each other's company. There's another way we can take this. She says, you don't want to take me with you. Okay, fine. You don't take me with you. I am going to Vanavasa. You come with me, she says. I will walk in front of you. She has already told, right? So she says, I will walk in front. You come with me. You don't want to take me. You don't want to be the person who took his wife to the forest. Fine. I'm not waiting for you to take me. I am going. You come with me, she says. And seeing this resolve of Sita, that she is unshakable in her resolve, finally Rama agrees. And then his face again becomes bright and smiling, because now he knows that his Sita is going to go along with him to the forest. And he tells her that I did not want to leave you here. But the thing is that it is unfair of me to expect that you should come to the forest with me. I didn't want to impose my Vanavasa on you. And that is why I told you to stay back here. But if coming with me is what is giving you joy, then definitely you come with me and we will go together. So, like this, they agree. And finally, now they have decided that they are going to go together. They, whatever possessions they have, whatever things belong to them, they decide that they will donate all of it to all the people of Ayodhya before they leave that place. And they send word and they call all people and they start doing dana of all their possessions. And they are preparing to leave and go. So, this is what is our topic for today, about how Sita's reaction is when she realizes that Rama has to go to Vanavasa. Now, from this episode, there are so many things that we can learn. What is the duty of a wife? What is the duty of a husband? Right? So, whether it is towards the family or towards the husband, there are certain responsibilities that everybody has to fulfill. It is the duty of the wife. Now, we know in our Indian system of family life, the girl gets married, she leaves her parents' home, and she goes to her husband's family and she starts living there with them. And she is advised that you have to care for this family just as you would for your own parents, for your own siblings. You have to take care of everybody here. And in what Rama told her, that, take care of Bharata like your brother, take care of Shatrughna like your son, do all the duties which are expected of a daughter-in-law by the in-laws. You serve my mothers, you serve my father. All these are things which it is told that we must do as our service. Now, in today's times, unfortunately, with this modern kind of mentality and girls saying that I am in no way less, why should I serve? The whole attitude is going wrong somewhere, right? But it is our duty to serve, whether it is serving the family or serving the husband. And more importantly, whatever the husband does, whatever he decides, whatever, out of all that, especially um, in the area where he wants to do some dharma karya, then the unstinting support of the wife is very important there. She should support him. In fact, in any of the rituals, if you see, whenever any dana has to be given, whenever any yajna or homa has to be performed, there is one step in that where the wife has to offer something, and through her hands it is given to the husband, and he offers that into the fire, into the yajna. And any dana which has to be done, you remember even in that case of when Bali gave the dana to Vamana, it is his wife, that Vindhyavali, who comes there and she has to pour water to say that, yes, now this is given. So, like that, there is a very big important role for the wife to support the husband and to, facilitate whatever dharma karya he is doing. We must make sure that we follow this. How about the husband's role? Here we see very beautifully Rama decided that he is going to go to the forest, but at no point of time has he imposed that decision on Sita. He does not expect that just because I am going and she is my wife. See, he told his mother and came, isn't it? He told her that it is your duty to be with your husband. Now, why is he not telling the same thing to his wife? He's not telling that to Sita. So Sita, in fact, tells him that you told your mother that you have to. I'm sure you have advised your mother that her duty is to stay with her husband. Then how is the rule different for me? If your mother is going to be staying with her husband, then I should go with my husband, right? So, like this, although that was the norm, Rama did not expect that automatically she should follow whatever he undertakes. He thinks that this is a difficult path and I don't want her to suffer. So, as I said, this, what you say, wanting the welfare of each other, as long as that sentiment is there, that kind of a family, that kind of a household will definitely flourish. But if we are only trying to pull down the other person, we are trying to we are trying to impose our will on the other person, we are trying to be controlling of our spouse in both ways, whatever it may be, then that is not going to end up in a good situation for us. Our family life will suffer, and because of that, lot of difficulties will come in our path. So we must remember this example of Sita and Rama. And when Sita talked about that, what is heaven, what is hell, that's such a very important lesson for us, that she says that it depends on who is the person you are asking. So we must understand that many times we go through our life and we think something is horrible or we think something is very good, but other people may not have that same outlook. So we must understand that everyone's life situation is different. Everybody has different kinds of paristhithis in their life. So according to that, their outlook may be different. We cannot expect just because we are feeling a particular way about something, everybody else in the world will also feel like that. Another important meaning here is that Acharya say that Sita is like the Jivatma. This will come in greater detail later, when at the time when Sita Paran takes place, when Ravana abducts Sita. But anyway, Sita is likened to the role of the Jivatma, and Rama is Paramatma. So Sita is saying, no, that if I'm with you, then that is heaven for me. And if I'm away from you, then that is hell for me. So what it indicates to us is that when the Jivatma, this Jivatma in one particular Sharira, when it has come and it has taken a particular kind of birth and it is living caught up only in this samsara, then that actually is hell. But the time when this Jivatma attains moksha and it goes back to Sri Vaikuntha to serve the Lord in Vaikuntha, then that Lord is Paramatma. So if Sita is Jivatma, then Rama is Paramatma. As long as the two are separated from each other, it is hell. But if they are together, then there's no bigger joy, there's no bigger heaven than that. That is the idea which we. Then, as an interesting side point, actually Shastra tell rules of how papa and punya gets divided between husband and wife, right? You remember we said that Sita told that everybody does whatever they do, they get. Actually, when you see the husband wife relationship, the Shastras say that if the husband does punya, the wife gets 50% share of the punya. If the husband does papa, nothing goes to the wife. Okay. Now on the other side, if the wife does punya, nothing goes to husband. If the wife does papa, then 50% share goes to the husband. So actually, you can see it's grossly imbalanced in favor of the wife, isn't it? She doesn't have to do anything on her own. Whatever she does, if she does good, nothing goes to the husband. Everything is for her only, the punya. If she does papa, however, he gets 50%. So he is the poor fellow there. Now, if the husband does punya, see, he's worked hard and done that punya, but aram se without doing anything, just by serving him, she gets 50% of the share. And if he does papa, poor thing, he alone has to bear it, and there's nothing that goes to the wife. So this is told in a humorous, lighter vein. But however, we must not, because of this, say that I will do papa, let my husband suffer. Or he should not say, okay, anyway, if I'm going to do punya, if it is going off to her, then I will not do. Not like that. Let us understand that what the Shastras tell, the path of spiritual practice, the path towards spiritual progress, is a little more difficult for men because they have so many vidhis which are told. They have to do those as per the Shastras. But for the woman, it is told that just the act of serving the husband and being along with him in whatever duties he is undertaking, that itself is enough for the wife to progress further ahead. She doesn't need to do anything on her own. As long as she is a devout wife, as long as she is a pativrata and she is doing Agnya Palan and following whatever her husband does, and she is supporting him in that and she is serving him in that, That is all that is required. So let us pray that this kind of an equation we will be able to have in our lives. That just as the ideal couple of Rama and Sita showed so much affection, so much loyalty, so much common approach and vision towards their goal. Like that, let us also be able to adopt these things in our life. Let us get these qualities from this divine couple. And it will be possible only by the grace of the Lord and the Acharya. So let us pray for the Acharyas and Lord's grace to always be on us. Let us be grateful for today's session and express Kritagnyata to them. मङ्गलं कोसलेन्द्राय महनीयगुणाब्धये चक्रवर्तीतनूजाय सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलं वेदवेदान्तवेद्याय मेघश्यामलमूर्तये पुंसां मोहनरूपाय पुण्यश्लोकाय मङ्गलं पितृभक्ताय सततं भ्रातृभिः सह सीतया नन्दिताखिललोकाय रामभद्राय मङ्गलं श्रीमते रघुवीराय सेतुलङ्घितसिन्धवे जितराक्षसराजाय रणधीराय मङ्गलं मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you, everybody, and we'll meet again tomorrow, following further the story of what happens next. Namaskar.